packed my life into a bag in 20 minutes. I told myself I was leaving because I had had enough. I told myself I was the victim, but that was a lie. The reason I was leaving is because I was a coward. My wife was at home pregnant, and she was screaming for help in the only way that she knew how, which was anger. And I didn't scream back. I didn't fight for her. I didn't fight for us. I did something much worse. I gave her silence. I punished her with my absence. I walked right out the door, drove to a hotel room, sat in the dark, and waited for her to apologize to me. And when I drove back the next morning, I wasn't going home to fix it. I was going home to end it. I walked in and the walls were bare. The boxes were already packed. And she looked at me and she said, "We'll figure this out later." In that moment, the statistical probability of us making it was 0. 2 kids, 2 more on the way, and 2 adults who couldn't stand to be in the same room together. So I decided to act like everything was my fault. All the fighting, all the resentment, all the stress was entirely my fault. Even the parts I knew weren't. And that single shift in perspective not only saved my marriage, it saved my life. Now, to understand why that decision was so radical, you have to understand how we got here. You see, you don't end up sitting in a hotel room alone overnight. It takes years of slow, corrosive resentment. My wife and I, we started off as a roller coaster. 2 broken people getting out of shitty relationships, seeking comfort in the chaos that was our lives. We got married a month before our daughter was born because I felt a sense of duty, a sense of responsibility. I felt like it was the right thing to do. But duty doesn't replace compatibility, and it damn sure doesn't replace leadership. For years, the dynamic was simple. She would disrespect me, seeking attention, seeking some kind of reaction. I didn't give it to her. I didn't give her the attention she was looking for because I didn't think she deserved it. I had the script in my head that if I can't do anything right, then I won't do anything at all. That is a dangerous place for a man to be. It's passive retaliation. I thought I was taking the high road by not yelling back. I thought I was being stoic by ignoring her. I wasn't. I was hiding. I was working. I was paying the bills, doing the dad stuff. But emotionally, I was checked out. I was waiting. I was waiting for her to see how hard I was working. I was waiting for her to stop nagging. I was waiting for her to show me the respect that I thought I deserved. You know, like her respect was a paycheck that I had earned and not received. And because she wasn't forking out the payment, I went on strike. We ended up moving 30 minutes further outside the city. Isolated. No help from anyone. Both of our families live out of state. And it was just the 2 of us trying to out-survive each other. It was an endless cycle. She wanted me to change, and I wanted her to change. And because neither of us would move first, we stood still. And when you stand still in a marriage, you rot. I see this in so many men. We convince ourselves that we are the victims of our wives' emotions. We think to ourselves that we're logical and they're emotional, that we're calm and they're crazy. We wear our victimhood like a badge of honor. We tell our friends, "Look at the shit that I put up with," or "Look how crazy she is." And that hotel room was a culmination of my victimhood. I was running away because I couldn't handle the reality that my strategy, waiting for her to fix herself, had completely failed. All right, so back to the morning of the hotel. I walked in and I looked at the boxes and I looked at the walls where the pictures used to hang. I thought that if we got a divorce, the narrative would be something like, oh, they just couldn't make it work, or she was too much for him to handle. But the truth, the objective truth, was that I had failed to lead. I had failed to create an environment where she felt safe enough to soften. I had failed to be the man that I had claimed to be. So after all the unanswered prayers, I looked in the mirror and I made a deal with him and myself. I told myself I was going to give it one more shot. And if I do this and it doesn't work, then I know. I told myself that everything leading up to this point would be entirely my fault, that I was going to act as if everything was my fault, simply because of the choices I have or have not made. If the house is messy, it's my fault for not creating a system. If she's disrespectful, it's my fault for tolerating it for so long and not setting a boundary sooner. If we're broke, it's my fault for not earning more. And if the kids are acting out, it's my fault for not modeling emotional regulation. I stopped negotiating. I stopped waiting on fair. And the first decision I made wasn't even about my marriage. It was about my mind and my body. I had come to the realization that I had let my body drift physically, so of course my mind wasn't going to be right. I didn't go back to the gym to get shredded, per se. I went back to the gym to prove to myself that I could keep a promise for 60 minutes a day and to make my mind stronger. If I couldn't think clearly and lead my own body, how was I supposed to lead a family? At the time, she called me selfish. She said something like, how can you focus on yourself when everything around us is falling apart? But I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I just went. Because I knew that if I couldn't respect the man in the mirror, how am I supposed to expect her to respect me as well? So I started waking up earlier. I started doing all of the tasks that I expected and assumed she would do. I didn't throw shade and I didn't try to get her to recognize what I was doing to prove a point or validate anything. I just did what needed to be done. And here's the key, and you need to get this if you were trying to save your relationship. I did not do these things for her. I did not do them to get a thank you. I did them because it's what a man who respects himself does. I turned my core values into a standard. When you clean the kitchen because you are afraid of your wife yelling at you, you are a servant. But when you clean the kitchen because you demand to live in an organized, clean house, you are a leader. The action is the same. The energy is completely different. You see, I stopped having expectations for her and started having standards for me. I became the anchor. In the past, when she would get emotional or chaotic, I would get swept away with her. I'd get defensive, or I'd get loud. Or I would just shut down, ignore her, or simply just leave the room. Now, if she gets emotional, I stay right there, unmoved. I became the rock that she could crash on without breaking. We also started couples therapy, but the real therapy was my consistency. Day after day, week after week, I showed up. I didn't slip, I didn't complain, and I didn't ask for credit. I led by example. Now, it wasn't overnight, and that's because you can't change years of damage in a week. But slowly, the dynamic started to shift. When she realized I wasn't doing any of this to manipulate her, that I was just simply doing this because this is who I am now, it brought her defenses down. We started communicating. We started laughing again. But don't get it twisted. We're not fixed. The drift is always waiting right outside the door. The difference is now I don't let it in. The fight isn't over. But now, we're fighting on the same side. Today, we expect our twin girls to be joining the family very soon. This is a terrifying responsibility. 4 kids, 1 income, but I'm not scared. And more importantly, neither is she. Because now she knows I'm holding the line. She shows that respect now. And it's not because I demanded it. It's because I demonstrated it. She respects my thoughts. She trusts my decisions. I carry the weight of the family. I provide, I protect, and I lead. And I don't view it as a burden. I view it as a privilege. This was the birth of Undeniable. I had come to the realization that I had spent my whole life being overlooked, underrated, and full of potential, but just lacking the execution. I wanted to become undeniable to the world, but I had to become undeniable at home first. And you become undeniable when you stop blaming your circumstances. You become undeniable when you stop blaming others for the position that you're in. Now, if you're watching this and your marriage is on the rocks, if you feel disrespected, if you feel like you're just a roommate in your own house, stop waiting for her to change. Stop waiting for her to get it. Look in the mirror and take accountability for everything. Set a standard and do not waver. She can't follow you if you're not moving. She can't respect you if you don't respect yourself. Be the leader you promised you would be. Even if you have to start today. Even if you have to start with nothing but a packed bag and a hotel room key.